Hello, my name is Gabrielle Griffiths, and welcome to the North Andover Journal. It's a pleasure to have you join us on our final summer episode. Now let's get started. The North Andover Public Schools are about to embark on their 2023 to 2024 school year. Along with the return to the classroom comes a return of the North Andover Scarlet Knights athletic teams to the local courts and fields. Here's a look at what's coming up on the fall sports schedule.
Another season of fall sports is on the horizon for the North Andover Scarlet Knights. The football team is looking to rebound from last year's 5-7 overall record. Head coach John Dubzinski will embark on his 9th season at the helm of the Scarlet Knights. Among the season's returning players, seniors Jake Salfrank, Zach Walensky, and A.J. Acola. The Knights start this season's action on the road versus Drake on Friday, September 8th. Their first home game will be the following week on September 15th as they host the Panthers of Beverly. The boys varsity soccer team finished with the top spot in the Merrimack Valley Conference, Division I. However, their mixed overall record led to them getting the 30th seed in the MIAA state tournament. Their first test in the tournament was 35th seed Beverly. Unfortunately for the Knights, it was the Panthers that prevailed, scoring the game's lone goal late in the game and securing the 1-0 upset victory. Coach Kyle Wood's 2023 squad starts their season on the road against Acton-Boxborough, followed by their home opener against Methuen on Thursday, September 7th. On the girls' side, the varsity soccer team took a 7-5-6 record into the MIAA state tournament, where they were the 35th seed overall. And just like on the boys' side, that first-round game featured a matchup between the 30th and 35th seeds, in this case the 30th seed being Waltham. And though the game also finished with a 1-0 score, it was the higher seed prevailing as they came away with the win. Coach Lisa Rassenden and her team will also start their season on the road on Thursday, September 7th versus Lowell. They don't start at home until Saturday the 16th when they host the Hillies of Haverhill at Walsh Stadium. The varsity field hockey team put together an 8-7-3 record last season and got into the state tournament as the 26th seed. They had a bye in the preliminary round, and in the round of 32, they met the 6th-seeded Bishop Fian Shamrocks. That's as far as North Andover would get, however, as they were shut out by the Shamrocks by a final score of 4-0. Coach Andrea Van Horn and her varsity team will face Andover on the road to start the season on September 6th. They open their home schedule against Central Catholic on Monday, the 11th. The girls' varsity volleyball team had a league record of 4-4 with an overall record of 8-13. Head coach Christina Augustini will start her 5th season at home as the Knights host Marblehead on Friday, September 8th. Other sports getting underway for the fall. The boys and girls cross-country squads will start their local action on Wednesday, September 13th at the Stevens Estate, as coaches Bill Varney and Rick Delikai put their respective teams up against the Chelmsford Lions. Coach Constance Schiller's varsity swim and dive team will embark on their 2023 campaign on Friday, September 8th versus the Red Raiders at Lowell High School. And the varsity golf team will take to the links at Bradford Country Club to open their season in the last week of August as they face Haverhill. Second-year head coach Matt Lombard and his Knights have their first home match at their home course on Thursday, September 7th, as they face Tewksbury at the North Andover Country Club. And while we're on the subject of North Andover High School sports, North Andover Cam invites you to Be a Good Sport. This is your chance to get in the game and learn about television and media production. We have lots of volunteer opportunities for covering local sporting events. Enjoy the games, meet new people, and have a lot of fun with your choice of crew positions. You can be a camera person, you can be a director, you can be a tech helper, or you can go for the gusto and get behind the microphone to call all the action.
He's gonna go deep.
Wide
yes,
open.
Man. He's got him. Touchdown, Scarlet Knight.
Let's get a nice open look. Brian Gorda for 3.
That was huge, Bags.
It's a 2-on-1 short-handed. That shot goes in. Shot. Score! And that's Marubi's second goal.
Lots of sports opportunities are coming up, and this is your chance to get in on all that excitement. Visit North Andover Cam at 70 Main Street today or give us a call at 978-687-6570. Get on the field with North Andover Cam today and be a good sport.
If you want more information on how to join the Cam Sports team, just call us at 978-687-6570 or send an email to brobert@northandovercam.org. The new Senior Center is officially open and ready for business. We got to check out the space, hear more about the inception, and speak with members to hear their thoughts about the new space. The North Andover Senior Center held their soft opening at the brand new location on 481 Sutton Street. Construction for this building started back in 2021, but its inception dates all the way back to 2012. As the population of seniors in North Andover continued to grow over the last decade, it became increasingly important for the town to focus on ways to best serve the population. At the time of the facilities master plan that was completed in 2012, the space programming needs for a new senior center was determined to be 17,000 square feet, and the project proposal was originally for an addition on the current building. Then, in May of 2018, town meeting voted to accept a donation of land from property owner Minco Corporation located on Sutton Street. That consisted of 57,300 square feet, as well as appropriating $5,500,000 to fund construction of the project at the new Sutton Street location. That dream from 2012 has now come to fruition, and the space is officially open and ready to be filled with North Andover seniors. We caught up with some new visitors to hear their thoughts on the new space.
I've been at the center for over 2 years now, and I love everything about it. We have a wonderful people here. We really have a nice groups. I belong to a group that do news and views, and we have the most wonderful people that we talk about all issues from the town, from the state. It's an absolutely amazingly beautiful. I didn't get a chance to tour it before. This is my first day, and I'm absolutely taken back how beautiful and wonderful architecture work they did. It's an amazing and it's really a beautiful thing for us.
We also caught up with longtime volunteer Barbara Driscoll to hear more about what she thought of the new space, the current Fresh Table program the center has been running, and her overall experience as a member at the North Andover Senior Center.
It is absolutely beautiful. It's so eerie, so bright, and I think everybody who has been coming in feel the same way. It's lovely. A lot of work put into it, but I think everybody appreciates it. Today is the Fresh Table, and everything is made from garden. 30 people can come, but it seems to have caught on quite well, and I believe they're considering having 2 in a month instead of 1 a month. So it's a nice way to get to know people. I feel that way myself. I came here in 2015, and I was very quiet. Didn't know anyone. My girlfriend had talked me into coming down because I was alone then. And then I kind of got to know people. And Leah, one of the coordinators, I started playing dominoes. And my girlfriend, she came up with the idea. And so we both have a table on Friday afternoons and teach them how to play dominoes. Everybody blends in, everybody gets along. It's pleasant to be here. I was not the type to blend in like that. I was home, alone. And when I came down, and gradually I started to get to know people. And as Leah said, you never even spoke. And now I know everybody, or just about everybody. And everyone is cordial to each other, and I like that. Because, being alone, it makes a big difference, and a lot of us are in the same boat. So, but we all get along and we all have fun.
The unprecedented heavy rainfall on Tuesday, August 8th, resulted in millions of dollars of damage to local property and led the town to declare a local state of emergency. In the wake of the heavy rains and flash floods, the town has reached out to the state and federal agencies looking for resources and relief. Here's an update.
On August 8th, 2023, at 2:03 p.m., the town of North Andover declared a local state of emergency due to over 6 inches of rain falling on the town over a 6-hour period, with 3 inches of that rain falling in just 2 hours. We got reports of extreme flooding in businesses and residential areas, and the fire department was forced to rescue residents from their home. We opened a shelter in the North Andover Old Senior Center over rear town hall. Residents came to the shelter with their belongings on their backs and their dogs, and we worked with them to find places to stay. The North Andover Housing Authority also evacuated residents, and those residents were taken to hotels. We'd also like to extend our thanks to the Red Cross of Northeast Massachusetts, who responded to town and spent 3 days with volunteers handing out Red Cross cleanup buckets behind Town Hall. Over 140 people signed up to receive those buckets, and we were very thankful to them for coming forward during our time of need. Today, nearly 2 weeks after the rain, we still have residents that do not have power and have not been returned to their homes. On Friday, August 18th, the town of North Andover again was hit with an unexpected amount of rain, with over 3 inches hitting in just 2 hours. So you know at home, a 100-year storm is usually classified as 6 in a 24-hour period. So if you think of the rain that we received, it was even more rare than a 100-year storm. No town's capacity is built to take on that kind of rain. And with the amount of rain we received in the first storm, and the ground still saturated, the smaller amount of rain on the second Friday caused a significant amount of damage again. Our surrounding communities have also been hit by this storm, and we continue to communicate with them. And we continue to communicate with communities as far as Natick, Nahant, Billerica, Tewksbury, who also were hit by these storms and had rain and flooding damage. We have been in contact with MEMA, and on the first day of the storm, MEMA sent out an employee to do an assessment. We submitted all of our MEMA paperwork documenting the damages to our public property and to private property, including residences and businesses. Cumulatively, that damage totals almost $30 million, with $3.4 million of that being public, $4.9 million affecting 359 residences, and $21.5 million affecting 56 businesses. At this point, we wait for MEMA to evaluate the forms that we've put forward and to determine whether or not they will advocate to the federal government for a declaration of disaster to be declared. We should hear more news on this in the coming weeks, and we will continue to communicate with you. In the meantime, the local state of emergency still stands, and the Board of Selectmen voted to ratify and confirm that state of emergency. We have received permission from the Division of Local Services at the Department of Revenue to deficit spend and are using those funds to make corrections and fix town infrastructure and buildings that were damaged. The building department reminds you that if your appliances, including your hot water heater, your boiler, or any of your electrical outlets were covered in water, please do not use those appliances and call the building department for an inspection. We will continue to advocate for you as residents and businesses to find funding to relieve and help as you rebuild. In the meantime, the Crisis Cleanup Hotline has been opened, and Team Rubicon, a veteran-led organization, is here to help residences with the cleanup. You can call 617-207-5633 until Friday, August 25th to have an assessment and get on the list for help. Again, that number is 617-207-5633. Please do not hesitate to call. I want to thank a lot of people for all of their help during this, including the governor, the lieutenant governor, the MEMA director, our liaison at MEMA, all of the senators and representatives that came to town and encouraged people to pay attention to the damage that we had here in town. I'm also exceptionally thankful to our emergency management division, the fire department, the police department, DPW, our emergency communications staff, and everyone at Town Hall who has continued to support our residents and businesses during this hard time. We are here to help, and if you need anything, please call Town Hall so that we can further assist you.
The clearing at the end of Sharpeners Pond Road has been a common hiking destination for many years, but also a subject of curiosity among younger residents. We talked to the president of the Friends of the North Andover Trails and a 65-year-old North Andover resident to learn more about the history of Sharpeners Pond and what the quarry was originally dug up for.
Throughout the 60s, missile defense was a really big topic. This concept of intercontinental ballistic missiles came about. These things could launch from anywhere in the world and come down basically with no warning and nuke another country. The Sentinel system was what the Army came up with and decided to implement in 1967. About a dozen sites in the United States would be composed of a giant radar system, and other sites fire nuclear missiles at the nuclear missiles and blast them out of the sky. It sounds crazy, and it was considered crazy at the time. North Andover was chosen as the site of Sentinel's first perimeter acquisition radar. It was nice and isolated. It was already mostly a state forest area, and it had nice access from Route 114. And this would have just been staring at the horizon, waiting for Russian or Chinese missiles to kind of appear out of nowhere, and at a moment's notice would have sent a signal to missile silos nearby. North Andover's counterpart site was planned to be in Camp Curtis Guild in Reading, and this is where the defensive nuclear missiles would have been stored in missile silos. It would have been like a permanent army installation in North Andover. We would have had troops around town. There would have been barracks here. If this hadn't been canceled, this building probably would have been built within a year or two. It was considered an urgent matter.
North Andover was a much more rural town. I counted, when we moved to town in 1958, there were about 11 farms in town. We were interested and wary, I guess. We had friends who were quite anxious. The People for Peace people were really not pleased with it at all. All the towns, cities seemed to think that they were going to get an atomic bomb. The word from the government was you should build bomb shelters. And so we had two neighbors who about that time built their houses, and in the basement there are bomb shelters. I can't remember that we thought nothing bad would happen, or there was not much you could do about it. Nobody really thought the whole thing through. I mean, you're sitting in your bomb shelter, and you've got food for a few weeks, and presumably the air isn't so contaminated that you can't breathe it. But then, what if your neighbors come and want to share your food? Or what do you do about neighbors? That kind of thing. People didn't really, but nevertheless, they're protecting their own families. Building that road was controversial. The whole thing seemed like it would be incredibly disruptive. Out where all the farms are, they're going to put this big hole in the ground. Some people worried we'd become a target.
They also had an informational meeting at the North Andover High School in the fall of 1968. Interestingly, there really wasn't a very big opposition to the work being done in North Andover at that time. Now, all of that changed when they had the informational meeting in Reading. Remember, this is where they were going to put actual missile silos, thousands of people turning out in a snowstorm, and coverage by local and national media, and some very heated discussions and opposition to the idea of putting missile defense in this area. You can imagine why people might be opposed to this. There's the safety issues, just the concept of having nukes stored near you, but also the idea that this could make the area a target. People started pulling politicians into this cause, and one of those politicians was Senator Kennedy. And this must have been quite effective, because within maybe like a month of Senator Kennedy becoming involved was the program put on hold and reevaluated by the new Nixon administration. And that essentially canceled the entire North Andover project, really less than a year after it started. There was this hope that this area could be turned into a state-of-the-art fancy recreation area by the state with some money from the federal government. And there were plans floated around for many years, but unfortunately nothing ever became of the plans. As soon as you leave the Army excavation site, it turns into beautiful New England forest land with rolling hills and hemlock trees and oak trees and wetlands and cedar swamps. It is actually really quite beautiful.
Friends of North Andover Trails is always looking for more volunteers and accepting donations to keep the beautiful trails of our town clean. To help out, participate in events, or access the organization's trail maps and other resources, head to faunit.org. And please be careful in the woods and around unsupervised bodies of water. As always, it's a pleasure to share the exciting events that our town is holding and the great things that our neighbors are accomplishing. Our town is full of untold stories waiting to be told, and I can't wait to find them. So if you know any local organizations, businesses, or people who would love to have their stories heard, send them our way. But for now, I'm your host, Gabby Griffiths, and this is your North Andover Journal.